Fragments of silicon existing in infinite configurations.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam, and as always are my cohorts. Not sure if you two have any official roles here, other than
I guess
the stuff
technical
that you do.
director for me? Question mark.
Anyway, Petty and Gallix are here this week as well. Let us get to the news, such as it is. Gallix, why don't you start us off first? Gallix?
Not too much. Sorry, I had my mic muted. Not too much going on this week. My parents are taking a short trip, so I am in charge of the house for a couple of days, which I don't anticipate any problems with. I heard a thing, I can't find it anymore, about how some 3DS carts are dying or whatever if they're not plugged into games regularly, so I've been trying to cycle some of my 3DS games, especially the older ones.
There are some of them that had a bad batch of flash memory, but not so bad. Yeah.
It wasn't even that, it's just that it's EEPROM or whatever that requires occasionally being poked with a tiny bit of electricity to continue to exist.
Yeah.
So I've been...
I need to find my games and rip them to my 3DS because I hacked it.
Yeah.
So that way I can just have my games with me.
I should probably hack
a whole
my
bunch of
DS
3DS games.
DS games don't have that. They use the previous form of flash memory that doesn't require power.
Specifically the flash chips they used on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I've just been cycling some of my older games into being plugged into my things for a couple of days in hopes that will keep them functional. And let's see. Mostly I've been playing Splatoon 3, mixing it up between Salmon Run, regular, and side order, especially since side order doesn't progress the catalog at all, and I do still want to keep doing that. But it is fun. It could use more bosses, because there's really only 3. But beyond that, and maybe a little bit more stage variety. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been doing this week.
Okay. Well, Petty, you're up.
So, overall, the week has been going okay until Monday morning. We found out that we got...
not much of the week, actually.
Yeah.
I know, you mean since last Wednesday, but...
Yeah. We found out we got... Because our water bill is auto-debited, we got a $500 water bill. Turns out the why is because when we had that big ice storm last month, the water supply pipe in our detached garage broke.
Oh no.
So it's been gushing water in our garage for almost a month. So that would explain the water bill.
Where's it going?
There's a drain. It's just going down a drain.
Oh. I feel like you shouldn't be charged for that.
Because it was past the meter, yes, we will be.
I didn't say won't, I said shouldn't.
I agree, but if it was before the meter, we would not be. If it was, because there's where the the line connects to the house's water system. If it was in that area, they probably would forgive the charge because it's all the way at the house, or specifically at the garage.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing they can do.
I suppose technically the thing you're supposed to do in that case is watch your meter so you can see how fast it's going, but I mean, who does that?
Well, they just said we had a leak, and we knew we had a small leak in the garage, but they didn't say how big it was. So we assumed, oh, it's just a little leak in the garage. We'll patch it when, we get a chance. And then we find out it's a big leak because there's water been gushing there for almost a month. So yeah, that's fun. So tomorrow we have a plumber coming. Hopefully they can fix it, because if they can't, we can't get a pool, because that's the only place that has um a spigot we can connect a gardening hose to. So if if the only remedy for it is to, cap and seal it at the street, because whoever designed our house, the garage and the house don't have separate water main breaks. They come off the same line.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not something that can easily be fixable, and they have to cap it, the only remedy is a permanent cap. We are boned as far as getting a pool goes. Like, we don't use the water in the garage that often. The only thing it's really there for is a hose, and there's also a bathroom, because I believe it's a 12-car garage. It's a working garage basically. So it's a lot easier, use the bathroom over there than having to come all the way over to the house for it,
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow morning I get to meet with the plumber, and hopefully this is fixable, or else we need to get the pool canceled, see how much because we already put a $3,000 deposit on the pool. So if we can't fill it because they have to cap the water, we need to see how much of that we can get back, because apparently they already ordered the pool. It's on its way.
You could fill it with concrete and turn it into a skateboarding thing.
Above ground pool. Good try though.
I know. No, I knew that. It's just even more absurd that way.
Fair. That'd be a small skate park though, because it's only an 18-foot pool.
I know.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm not sure who would use it, given
Yeah, my physical
Well, that's
limitations.
the third thing. Yes.
Yeah. It'd be the last.
Well, even if you're 30 years old, Petty. Like,
31,
I don't think you want to be
32 in April.
Tony
Tony Hawk, I am not.
Well,
hey! Picking up skateboarding is a perfect thing to do in a third life crisis.
Especially when neither of your legs work very well, right?
Yeah.
You have balance problems.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, it'd be the last video you guys see of me.
That'd be bad because
breaking my neck.
Yeah, we kind of need you to run the apparatus, so that's not a go.
Fair.
Anyway.
But yeah, I guess other than that, not really a whole lot, obviously, because that's been taking up most of my mental bandwidth.
All right.
Yeah, so I guess next victim.
Well, I mean, considering there's only 3 of us, that means it's my go.
Unless we want to talk to the invisible man in the corner. I mean, wait, what?
Well, I mean, we
talk about it. We have to start paying him.
Well, now we just need to bring Twilight back from the void, or Ogre, or insert 4th chair here. Anyway, getting to actual news. So let's see. I suppose the big news is my brother has finally wrapped up his old place, and he's fully moved out on his end. His soon-to-be ex still needs to do some roundup there, but that's kind of on her. Like, so that means he and his family are fully well, I suppose not fully, but more or less ensconced in the guest quarters for, well, the foreseeable future, let's say. He is actively looking for a place to live, but that kind of takes time and money and resources. So you know he and his family are basically using part of the property as a weekend way station. Um, it shouldn't affect any sort of broadcasting plans on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
That is, say, they would roll in here Friday evenings and depart here Sunday afternoons. Which is outside the range of when this show regularly goes on air.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this week would have been a problem had we had a Friday interview because it is the kids' spring break. They're rolling in on Friday morning this week, which would have been smack dab in the middle of a very important broadcast had it gone through. It's rare that I have to say this, but it holds true here. I'm thankful that things got delayed till early April there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't really working out on their end, wasn't working out on our end. So it was mutually agreed upon to delay things to the first week of April. And this is limited run games. So I am
And
glad
Lord
that we're
knows
not.
I have a lot to talk to them about.
Yeah. I'm assuming that everyone here has a lot to talk about in regards to limited run games. Point is, we're going to be doing that without the benefit of having yelly children running around in the background,
Mm-hmm.
or me having to use my phone or whatever the solution would have been.
Right.
So, thankfully, that's not a worry. I'm let's see. In gaming news, let's see. I managed to pick up all of the EA games that they dumped onto Steam last Friday.
Mm-hmm. Believe me, we have
Yeah,
a long list of devs not happy about that.
I'm
Some of them we've had on this show.
and will have on the show.
Mm-hmm.
The potion got back to my email.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm personally, I'm glad it happened because I never bothered getting those games off of GOG.
GOG or
But
Origin.
yeah, especially Origin.
Fuck
Ugh.
Origin.
Yeah, so so that's all the Command and Conquer games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
It's actually getting around to it. It's a bit difficult because I'm still going through Tales of Symphonia. I think I'm about at the end. I'm still playing through Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, and whatever games I have to do for review. And they've been some hefty ones this week. In fact, I got to put more time into Death of a Wish because, dear God, the Lamasoft one took me about 13 hours to get through all the material. Yeah, it's not even playing the games for all that long, just the material.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anyway, so I think that clears the news for the week. So usually this is where we would roll on to an interview if we had an interview. As I think I mentioned on Sunday, the developer bounced. No reason given. That just sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Like, so needed to think of something to replace it. Thought about going back to Heaven's Vault, but I don't know, I think we just got really bored with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have a hard time. I was still interested, but I have a hard time keeping track of where we were, and I know Petty Fan doesn't enjoy sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so
and also,
we're
with
gonna
all
try.
the stuff we have now, there are a lot more interesting games.
Yeah. But we're trying something new here, like especially since what they call reaction videos are kind of a hot thing now.
God, that hurt, Adam.
I'm sure it did. I'm like, I made sure to inflict maximum pain with that sentence.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we got here is an experiment to see how well we can ride the trend, so to speak, as we are going back into the past and we're visiting the early 90s.
Before I was born, 90s. Woo!
Yeah. And should this prove to be a success, there are other flashes in time we can visit. I already know what will be next. Don't worry, it'll be something, at the very least, vastly different from what we're going to be exploring tonight.
I was about to say, does it involve the Computer Chronicles?
God damn it, you actually guessed it in one. Like,
well, not anymore. Now we have to do something different.
No, I would still do the Computer Chronicles. You just don't know which episode it would be.
God, I love being the smart one sometimes.
Like, but
this week I get the brain cell boys and girls.
Yeah. Like, anyway, but we're not doing the Computer Chronicles. We're doing GamePro TV. Now, GamePro TV actually existed in a few incarnations. Like, I actually watched the second incarnation of this, which was the infomercial version that appeared on the USA Network.
That was a thing, wasn't it?
It was.
I vaguely remember catching one of two of those ones. Thumbing through this one, I don't remember catching any of this version, which makes sense with a copyright date of 91.
Yeah, no. This was in first run syndication. Like, which, like, they're similar, but they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in fact, you'll see, like, one of the big differences pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But also, because this is the first run syndication, this one has all the commercials attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to look to see what they were hawking to children in the year of 1991.
So I take it that's my cue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're starting off with a staple of the 80s and 90s.
Wrestling?
Yep. Specifically the WWF. Since it's 91, I can call them that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
they hadn't lost a lawsuit to the Panda people yet.
Yeah,
that'd be about a decade out.
And
it's hard to figure out who's the bigger bastard.
That's a name from the 90s.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Tonka still exists, I think.
Not really. Like, the name exists, but, like, as the child's toy brand, it's very lackluster now.
They still do trucks. I remember
Tonka
this
specifically in conjunction with construction vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember seeing ads for this thing, anymore. And I never had or cared for. I like playing with my sister's Barbies occasionally. Anyway, I wanted to do that toy, the friggin' shaved ice maker that looked like a pineapple.
I remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Was this a
That's all I got
TV
there.
series, or is it?
This was when it was a movie.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, were they airing the movie, or was it a TV series spin-off thing?
Okay. I never want to hear about
I think the TV series spin-off didn't come until after the second or third movie.
Out of the house and over to Ryder's Hobby Shop. At Ryder's Hobby Shop,
Oh,
we
man,
can show
hobby
you a whole
shops.
world of hobbies. The
As long
cars,
as it's
the
not
boats, the planes, the trains, the stars, the models,
Hobby
the
Lobby.
games, and a
You know,
whole lot
Yeah,
more.
I'm hoping
fair.
that this one wasn't owned by fundamentalist Christians who are trying to destroy the
This is
fabric
also
of society.
real hobby stuff and not just arts and crafts.
Yeah.
I guess model making is technically arts and crafts.
Ryder's Hobby Shop.
Yeah,
We're on a road,
usually
1
we'd have to
mile,
suffice with a
575.
radio check.
Also, back before anyone, even Bandai, was making like good plastic models. Like Bandai's were still probably better.
Oh my
But
god, that is the 90s. Holy
I warned
fuck.
you! I warned you were going to get the 90s directly injected in your eyeball.
Help, it's bleeding.
The part of the 90s that was still the late 80s.
The Kellers.
Yes, that is true, Gallix, but this is still very distinctly the 90s. You know, in case the shredding guitar couldn't give it away. And the fucking surfer dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's boogie? No! This man is having a seizure. He needs help.
Welcome to GamePro. I'm JD. This is my pal,
it's already
Brian,
been
and,
worth
so
it.
As you can see, I'm getting here a little late today, and I am really sorry. Sorry, bud. Dude, what are you
Right,
What
so
the fuck?
the guy on the right is children's television fixture JD Raw. You might know him from such things as Funhouse or Masters of the Maze. And these are not things I made up.
With all the video game tips and talk you come to expect week in and
I
week
vaguely
out.
remember
And
Masters of the
these
Maze,
blogs
and now you're
gamer
making me
knowledge?
relive that,
Okay,
and I
I'll tell
hate you
where.
for it.
GamePro
And how old are these guys
the
here?
source for home and arcade video game information.
Okay,
You know
I don't know how old Bernard, I think, is, but JD Roth is actually really fucking young. He's like 19 years old or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
they're not 30-year-olds dressed up as teenagers.
Not Roth.
Okay, that's cool.
He's
Alright.
actually genuinely young. Like, he got his start,
And as we speak, I am
you know,
on my way.
underage.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Child acting and all that shit.
What the fuck? SWAT?
Secret Weapons and Tactics. That was a column in the GamePro magazine.
SWAT World.
Look, there's a lot going on here at any given time. It's the 90s. It's like, if they don't have something blasting in your face at any given second,
Good
You're gonna
old-fashioned
lose
green
your
screen.
attention.
You can
Yeah,
tell it's
that's
green
a-
because he's wearing so much blue.
Yeah, green
Look,
screen guy putting in work.
Missed them again. I'll get them next time. If you
Now, there
execute this
isn't a
tactic correctly,
congruent
you can achieve
explanation for why
limited
he's trying to
invincibility
swap
and
Mega
super
Man.
jumping ability in Mega Man 3. Keep in mind that the
Yeah.
invincibility
I remember
part of this
this.
trick works only in the Needle Man,
I remember
Snake Man,
this
Shadow
secret.
Man, and Gemini Man
I will
levels.
say,
remember
though,
having to
shout
do it
out
for my
to
brother.
the
On
keying
any
of the
other
green
level.
screen
The
guy,
super
because
jumping
I've
works
seen
anywhere. When you're
bad
in a heated
keying
state,
Yeah.
fall
with
into a
stuff
hole
like
would
that. You
normally
can
kill
see the
Mega
green
Man.
screen
That's
through
right. Fall
the
into a
like
hole
stuff like
that
fly
normally
swatter.
kills this dude. But when you fall,
Yeah.
hold button A on controller
Yeah, I
1
want to say
and
this
right
was
on
one
the
of the,
directional pad
this
on
was part of the
controller 2.
debug
Now,
tools
keep
that
both
the
of these buttons down
devs
until
had
you run out
that
of
just
energy.
left
You can
in.
now let up on the A button on controller 1.
But you know,
But keep
I
the
distinctly
pad turned on
remember
controller
having
2.
to do this for my
This
older
is where
brother when
Fran comes in handy.
he was
Because as
playing
long
Mega
as the
Man
right
3,
directional pad stays
and
down on
we got the
controller
code
2,
via
you
Nintendo
have
Power.
invincibility
Oh, yeah.
and
You know,
super
another
jumping power. So,
another
let your
fixture
bud take care
of
controller 2 while you play the
you know,
game.
the times we're
Now
looking
remember,
at.
the invincibility
Yeah, this
was
trick will
definitely
only work
a
on
debug
the Needle
thing.
Man,
A lot of them were
Snake
left
Man,
in there to
Gemini
sell
Man, or
Nintendo
Shadow
Power
Man levels.
tip,
But the super jumping
you know,
works
tip line
everywhere.
calls.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
probably, or at least certainly it's less trouble than just rather it takes time and effort to remove debug tools.
Next, while you're
True.
falling, push down the A button on controller 1 and right on the pad on controller number 2
Yes,
at the same time.
the
Now
archaic
wait until
old
you're drained of energy.
inputs.
Now, have a friend hold down the controller 2 right pad for you.
At least they can name specific
You now
buttons.
have invincibility plus super jumping power throughout the entire game.
The sound effects!
I guess I
how
can
did we
understand why they
survive
don't.
the 90s?
We didn't.
My friend and I have been stuck.
Like,
The hell, that cute kitty.
Hey, you don't take any prisoners, do you, bud?
that kitty's dead now.
2 or 3 of the Game Lab's best over
Oh.
here, but we
I
just,
get it's
check it
been
out.
over 30 years, but
Use the blink spell 6
Yeah.
times to avoid the dragon's
Oh,
first
God.
6 flame bursts. Now,
Oh, hey, Petty,
this
remember
will
you had to
tire
review
out.
this
He's
game?
not done yet because there's still one final long blast to come. Wait for his
the
second
pain,
inhale,
it
and
washes
use
over
the flame
me.
protection scroll.
We're reliving quite a lot of history right now.
The amulet up to the light,
I'm reliving
but do
trauma right
not
now. I don't know what
read
the fuck
runes.
you're doing.
Runes? Okay,
Now,
I know
don't,
you may be asking, dude, what's a
now,
rune?
don't oversell it. You never
I
got
guess you
this
guys thought I
far.
said prunes.
I know I
Sorry,
didn't.
I didn't. I said runes.
Because I didn't
Look, we
want
never said we
to.
had to be good at video games.
I'm
Which tells you your
to be
future.
fair, I am good at
And if I don't get on with
platformers.
answering your question, I think I know what my future's gonna be. Ouch. So as I was saying, hold the amulet up to the light, but do not read the prunes. I mean runes. This will
Good
frighten
lord.
the dragon and keep him from attacking you while you deal with your
They
next
kept
problem.
that in.
The wizard Mortimer, who's gonna try and fry your behind with his lightning bolts. Bogus.
Bogus.
Now here's how you handle this punk. Use
We're a
the
few
statue
years
scroll
out from
3
Bill and
consecutive
Ted and,
times to
the
defend
Teenage
against the
Ninja
lightning.
I'm
Turtles.
aware.
So,
Morty will do his best to fake you out after the first 3
we still
bolts.
had to
And
deal
you
with
can always
surfer
tell when
lingo
snakes are
in our
coming if you
popular
watch the
culture.
dragon's head, because the
Mhm.
dragon will always follow the direction of the lightning. See?
Also, Brennan Howard is operating on different wavelengths than the rest of humanity.
So again, use your statue scroll 3 times to defend. Thinking he's got you by the power cord.
Now, I will give credit. These are actually good tips that the general public might not know.
Use the
Mhm.
magnetic hand spell to suck
Just
the energy
presented
out of
Granted,
the
the
sword, and sit back and watch as the dragon
granted, the
cooks the
Immortal
Mortimer's
is
kebab.
far more niche than, say, Mega Man 3. But, it did get a lot of coverage in Nintendo Power as well.
Good question. You'll be getting your free GamePro tee in the mail.
Ah, yes, the free
Thank you.
t-shirts.
Now, if you other gamers have a hot one, put it on video. Send it to us. Get gutsy. We'll give you the address.
This
at the
is
end of
what
the show, okay?
executives thought gamers were in the 90s. That scares me.
On GamePro.
Not as much as those glasses do, but,
Yeah.
still. Or this game.
Yes.
We just can't get away from Bart versus the Space Mutants recently.
No,
I don't
no,
know
we
why.
will not.
Oh, God, it's Bart versus the world.
Yeah.
Fuck, this was even
Mow
worse.
the lawn. I got better things to do.
I mean, The Simpsons was everywhere. It was still
I know.
new.
Even on the Game Boy. I had this game,
I
Escape from
have
Camp
it.
Deadly.
Aw, man.
It was shit, but not as
no.
bad as the NES titles.
Top Gun?
Against an enemy mate with Sky Fighters.
Sky
Was
Fighters,
this-
okay. Oh god, those. Ooh,
It's Hot Wheels.
that's unleashing a core memory.
I'm like, oh, this has
That
been
was
worth it.
That was a fun hospital trip.
These things never worked like that.
The problem is my dad thought it would be cool to kind of modify it, and it went off the track, and I took one in the eye.
Ouch.
That explains the hospital trip.
I'm like, wow, we're going on terms that I was not expecting. And
Yeah.
because it's
And
local
then an ad for
first run,
water beds.
because it's local first run syndication,
Mhm.
even if this is probably playing at 7 in the morning for children.
You wouldn't want us to show you.
This might actually be like an afternoon slot.
We're showing you her lungs.
It's possible. Like,
Janice
you know,
was born with what's known as low birth weight. She was
it's really hard to tell.
Oh, are we now
Because
getting
Janice's
the,
mother
you
didn't
know,
that getting
don't
pregnant
smoke
was any
ads?
reason to see a doctor.
Possibly could be an anti-drug PSA.
Doctors now.
Like, but oh, yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's just for being pregnant.
Beam me up.
Oh God, the warp pipes.
Okay, if he's being beamed up, why did he need to be in the pipe, and also why did it need
This
to be
is how
closed?
extreme the 90s were.
Again, still though, good keyword.
If you're a Genesis player, then you gotta be a fan of Target Earth, one of the all-time greats for the 16-bit game.
Yep. If we ever cover Nightmare, it won't be as good in terms of the Chroma Keying.
The first tip is major easy to pull off. Now, even though
Which game is this?
Target
Earth.
This was a Genesis title.
Just hit the start button on the
Yep.
player 2
It looks
That's
a
another
little
thing
bit
about
like
game-
another game.
Yeah, that's another neat thing about GamePro TV. It covered all the systems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in case you were locked into the
fairness,
Nintendo.
the US had maybe 3 at this time.
But want to keep the game
Oh
going
no, we're in 1991, so we've got quite the nexus of systems going on right now.
Yeah.
You know,
I know
we got the.
we're still
Was the Jaguar out yet?
No, I think we're a year off from that.
No, we're 2 years.
2, that's right.
But what you will probably catch a glimpse of are some TurboGrafx 16 games.
Leave the option screen.
That
Well, that
did
would've
come
been the
out in the
third one, right?
And if you
States.
did this one right, you should have 9 continues. Way to go. By the way, when you get down to 2
Once again, when you get over the goofy presentation, this is actually good stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
Pro review. That's what we do, right, guys?
Brendan and I have gone where no
sure.
man has gone before, right?
Okay, how many drugs is
Yeah,
Brennan
exactly.
on?
I know I made the joke about the seizure at the beginning, but I'm pretty sure that man needs medical attention
Even
now.
if you've gone through Trekkie rehab, listen up.
Yeah, his behavior does worry
You need
me.
to get your thumbs on this cart for another dose of Starship Enterprise.
Either he
Here
took
is
a
the
lot
story.
of shit
God.
before shooting starting, or...
The Enterprise.
Oh, hey, it's the game that Mac made me commentate on some time ago.
Where no man has gone before. Kirk and the crew's mission is to repair the space hull and make it back to Federation space. Of course,
Oh,
the
man.
ship's dilithium crystals have burned out, and there isn't enough power to warp out of the unknown
Whoever
zone.
wrote this is
Or for that matter,
a fan of
to
Star
even
Trek.
maintain
Yeah.
orbit for more than 2
Yeah, they're not
hours.
even getting the references wrong.
Okay, the only hope for
Yeah,
Spock,
that's what I'm noting.
Uhura, Chekhov, Sulu, Bones, and the rest of the crew is to explore the closest planet they can find.
Gilligan's
and get
Island?
the crystals they need to continue their journey.
You know,
Yeah, this game still looks
it wouldn't be the
as
weirdest episode of either show
No.
if the Enterprise crew somehow ended up beaming down on Gilligan's Island.
And run through a number of other missions.
You're not wrong.
I wasn't that pitched at one
Over
point?
7 sections involving
I don't think-
travel,
I don't know.
exploration,
Like, probably
I would
not,
not
because
be
I think
shocked.
Gilligan's Island was on CBS, and this is an NBC show.
That's right. I mean, it would be hilarious crossover.
Your version of hilarious differs from mine.
Okay, quasi-intriguing.
Team of Game Lab
There we go.
Rate Star Trek. Remember, the Game Labbers check our games out for graphics, sound, challenge, and fun factor. Now, while
Fun
the Game Lab
factor.
Garbanzo beans like the graphics, especially the characters representing the original Star Trek cast, they were kind of disappointed with the backgrounds. A lot of the planets look the same, and some levels are nothing more than a graphic.
Well, hey, I had that same critique when Mac and I were running through that game.
Cool, but the music's kind
Turns out you just left your critique from,
Once again,
Yeah.
you know it's the 90s because the icons have to flip around.
Oh, yeah.
The coolest game in the galaxy, they do say you're going to have a pretty good time. Now, speaking for myself, I have to say, well, I was kind of disappointed. Yeah. No way, dude.
Disappointed, yet it was still a 4 on their scale.
I kind of like the game, you know? I'm like sort of a Trekhead, you know?
Oh my, yeah, that man is not okay. He needs medical
Fair
help.
enough, but, you know, well,
Wait,
it's okay we disagree a little, right? One thing we don't disagree on, though, is Bonk's revenge for their TurboGrafx 16
Oh my God.
game system. And
What?
we both agree it is awesome.
That's right, bud.
What are we watching?
I don't know.
Adam, you're the one who put it on.
No. I mean, like, Brennan here. Just, what are you?
Old enemy, King
He's
Gruul, is also back.
Frodo,
Brought with him a new and nasty plan.
Head.
You see, it
Or
seems
Speaking of the TurboGrafx 16, one of the Bonk games.
At this point, I don't think it'd be Proto, though, Gullix. This is the 90s.
Bashing Drool's bad
Hmm.
guys as he goes. You're gonna meet up with some old adversaries in this game, like the dreaded Chicken Army.
Oh, so it's
You'll also
Bonk's
check out some new
Revenge.
screaming meanies like the fire-breathing lizards and
I need to
rampaging
try
dinosaurs.
some of the Bonk games at some
Bogus.
point.
We need to get the
I know
Bonk games
Naka did
re-released.
all of them.
Yeah.
When he gobbled up the meat.
Well, I
And
mean,
yeah.
Naka did those things like 15 years ago.
Well, they haven't released any new Bonk games since then, so.
No, they haven't released the old Bonk games.
Times as much damage with his headbutts than he used to do.
You know, it's like, meanwhile, Limited Run Games convinced Konami to release Felix the Cat.
Also Rocket Knight.
Enemy takes total damage.
Yeah.
One
Now,
of those I like more.
Yeah, now, I'll grant, yes, the TG-16 Mini was a thing a few years ago. But, you know, that was a few years ago.
Yeah. And did it even have the Bonk games?
I'd have to look.
I don't think the team that ever did that one. I know they did most of the others.
Well, have to say perfection comes to mind.
But yeah, Bonk is interesting. They did port it to other things, but it doesn't really work properly because the entire name is supposed to be a TurboGrafx pun. I mean, not in English, obviously, but...
Sound? I don't know. I got a thing for the sound of Bonk's most massive head thumps. They just kind of go thunk, you know?
Most
it's really cool.
massive
And the
head
gamers of all
thumps.
ages and
Oh,
skill levels
good
can
lord,
play along.
buddy.
I don't think this
Have you seen
man's
his head?
word restricted. I think he just said whatever came to his brain pan at any given moment in time.
I think they just gave him like 3 words and told him to figure out the rest.
Bonk on, dudes! Bonk!
You can tell the other guy looking at him with some of the purest concern a man can give another man.
Oh god, Dragon's Lair 2.
Oh, hey, bud. This is my favorite part of the show, so stop playing. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh yes, they were totally playing that video game.
Yeah, that totally wasn't. I mean,
Yes, the Dragon's Lair games are definitely known for their requiring of repeated fast inputs.
Never mind, the game isn't actually, it's in the attract mode.
Yeah.
They hoped that you wouldn't notice it.
We've been playing it all day. Now, if you're wondering why the
All
animation
day?
quality on this game is so awesome,
I'm
to the
like,
point of
it's
blowing out every
Dragon's
other
Lair.
animation game in the universe,
You didn't
I mean, in
destroy
fairness,
the
it's not
cabinet in
easy.
frustration.
are the very same people
Yeah.
who brought you The Land Before Time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's not very
And
long.
All Dogs Go to Heaven. The company
I'm like, it's not very long if you know how
supposed
to
be the #1
do
game in
everything.
animation.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Check out the gameplay. Princess
Remember,
Daphne has been
this game,
kidnapped by the heinous
this is
evil
an
wizard
upcoming
Warlock.
preview, or the game is just getting
Her mother is
released.
kicked off big time and
Yeah.
makes Daphne's
So, how would they
husband,
know?
Dirk the Daring, go after Morty to bail out the princess. Not an easy chore, dudes. Mordok has a time traveler.
Yeah, Dragon's
and he
Lair
jumps
2
all
is
around
way
history to
more
avoid certain things
unhinged
happening
than the original Dragon's Lair.
All the Dirkster could put
That's
together
saying
is this
something, but
busted up
yes.
time machine he got from this old
It is
used
Don
time
Bluth.
machine car lot.
If
It's not
valid-
True,
enough for
but-
Dirk the Daring. This game is equipped with total state
But once again, even for those things, this is unhinged.
25-inch monitor, and you're gonna
Oh,
use
yeah.
lightning fast
25-inch
reflexes to
monitor.
because the action is fast.
God.
I mean, that is a pretty honking big CRT.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of money, if you're gonna go to the arcade and play
Yeah, because
Dragon's Lair 2,
CRTs
you better bring lots of
have to
money,
increase
bud,
in size
because
much
those
faster due to the
guys-
depth and the fact that you're building a much
No,
larger
you need to bring a lot of
vacuum tube.
money for Dragon's Lair 2 because it's going to cost like 75 cents. Like, you know, the original Dragon's Lair was so infamous for being like the first game to cost 50 cents.
Hi, I'm John Meissner from Ottawa, Canada, and I finished Bonk's Adventure for the TurboGrafx 16.
Hi, this is
Hooray?
from Smyrna,
That's not an
and I'm
achievement.
for the Sega Genesis, I got a cool 158,950.
Unbelievable scores, dude.
Subtitles
The
are
GamePro subscription is
not
good enough,
professional.
so check it out.
These are AI filled, I'm
If you want to
guessing.
win, you gotta send them in.
Probably.
Hot tips and tactics for Valis 3 when we come
Well, of course, they had to get the GamePro advertisement in because, you know, this is GamePro TV.
Buy the magazine that this show is based on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, the NBA cards.
They probably should have waited a bit because these would have been bigger in, say, 1998.
Fair.
Buy sports cards, if only for the bubble gum.
This
you
is
did-
just after that era.
With the power of the future.
Did they
I
ever
know,
stop
it
coming
might be
with
right
bubble gum?
Yeah.
That's somewhat disappointing.
Oh, God.
No, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was in the future, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trading cards came with bubblegum.
Huh.
I remember these things. They always looked so cool. They always looked so cool in the ads, but I knew even back then that they would not be as good. I think we still got them a couple of times, but
yes. Part of that complete breakfast you never ate.
Oh boy.
Oh, good lord. Here we go, boys.
Oh, it's Maryland.
I'm like, oh. Well, at least we know where the broadcasting is originating from, generally speaking.
Probably don't call that number, boys and girls. I don't know if it's still active, and knowing our luck and price, I
It was. It's numerology. Like, do I have to go on a rant on numerology here?
Oh, look, Family Feud.
Here's... For numerology, I would just paraphrase that, the bridge of Weird Al's horoscope song.
Oh, God.
Look, fun is where this song went to die.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Bud, you off to SWAT World? No, I'm in the middle of a great game of Tetris. All right, I'm going to go to SWAT World. I'll put on pause. Make
sure you are. The Game Boy isn't even on.
Later, bud.
And he's lost.
That's totally what Tetris sounds like.
Yeah, totally.
Whoa, ow. Dudes, I think I'm stuck.
Dudes.
Hopefully, we're back in SWAT World.
He got paid money for that.
I have a happening level selector for the Genesis game Valis 3.
That makes me angry.
Here goes nothing. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
Oh! First, bring up the title screen. Now.
Okay, which version of Valis 3 is this?
Genesis.
Button C, up and start.
He did
the shit version.
I'm talking a real finger stretch.
It's the one with a C button.
The screen will display.
Yeah, that's Genesis.
I know.
The Genesis games were generally inferior to the TG's counterparts.
Exactly where you want to be. Okay, let's run that down one more time. First, bring up the title screen. Now, hold down button A, button B,
Look
button
how
C,
slow
up,
this is.
and the start button all at the same time. When you see select map, choose the level you want. Finally, hit start, and you'll start at that level. How about a classic trick for powering up any of your turtles in the Game Boy version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Like I said, it's a decent cross-section of 1991 video.
Battle with the Foot Clan. Michelangelo is tiring out.
Like, even some stuff you would never expect. Like arcade.
Press the start button
Or
to halt the action. Next, press
the Game Boy.
down.
Like, even back then...
Right,
Like, even back then, like, you know, handhelds were the lower tier of video games.
Here's the order one more time. First, put the game on pause. Next, hit up, down, left, right.
The amount of screen space and computing power you got was,
you know,
limited.
Still, also props to their capture equipment.
16-bit hits.
Remember, back then,
you can
that
tell
was
it's
the new
the
hotness.
90s.
Even in the stores yet, but the
You know,
Game Lab
bits are mattering.
inspectors managed to get their mitts on. Ultraman, yeah. For the
Oh
SNES.
God!
Here's a preview.
Having to shill for that piece of
Now,
shit.
For those of you who may not be
I remember seeing this as a game rental option once at the
Ultraman was
Blockbuster.
Ultraman was like a staple of bargain bins and, you know, the blockbusters where the game was always available.
Well,
The main thing I remember
hit it off in the States very well.
The main thing back in the day, I remember trying to come up with an internal theory based on absolutely nothing of the relative, like, superness scaling between Superman, Mega Man, and Ultraman. Because I saw the Ultraman game, and it was kind of near the Mega Man games. I was like, well, that must be like one more, right?
And then he sets out to save the world from these.
Keep in mind, this game is,
the good news is,
technically speaking, contemporaneous with Street Fighter 2. But, you know, it was in development before Street Fighter 2 came along to show how to do fighters good.
So hilarious that the concept of a combo is actually a bug.
I was gonna say, wasn't Street Fighter 2 like the first one where combos were like intentional?
They were actually a bug that they liked so much.
Oh, even
they made
in
it
2? I knew they were like, I couldn't remember if that was Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 1.
If you get my drift. Come to think of it, can you imagine having to feed this guy? As long as you don't get stuck with the check at dinner.
Yeah. Bro is not doing okay in the head. He needs help.
The game is hot, so look.
Well, it's also, I think the marijuana is kicking in. Things what he's saying is interesting.
Bring Nate back from the dead with a cool tip for Phantasy Star 2.
Holy God, Phantasy Star 2.
Look, once again, I can appreciate the selection of video games they have here. It's not just like all the popular platforms or whatever.
Oh man, Juicy Fruit.
Oh man, this song.
Overrated bubblegum.
Yeah. God, remember when we had gum commercials like this?
Yes.
You can start losing up to 10.
Oh my.
Wow, that's a whiplash moment.
Guys, I can't feel my legs.
Okay, and now parents are gonna have to explain some shit.
Yeah, especially if this is the after-school slot. Holy God.
Jeez. Who planned this?
I'm not embarrassed to wear a bikini anymore.
Like, good God. Your target demographics and audience aren't watching GamePro TV, generally speaking.
10 bulging inches from his waist. Tennessee Sherry Kopic lost 38 pounds with her doctor-approved
also
diet pill program.
This is bullshit on par with that numerology commercial we saw back.
Yeah. Lost 32 pounds. Lorene Liberati rapidly lost 46 pounds. Lynn Clary lost an astonishing.
The real secret is they're selling you speed.
Lost an incredible 100 pounds.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Now you can shed excess
91 you might actually
doesn't say what it is, so it might be.
Program for only $9.95.
I think 91 that
all personal checks and
doing
credit card orders
that
by
was
phone.
actually
Call
illegal.
1-800-826-5600 now to order your 21
It's
day supply
possible.
for only $9.95.
But
Call
they're
right
definitely
now and receive your
not
nighttime
selling.
Cellulite
It's
cream
not,
absolutely free.
you know.
Your satisfaction is 100%
Yeah, it's not the miracle that they're selling it as.
Card ready when calling. That's 1-800-826-5600. Call now.
Please don't actually call that number.
Once again, even if we're active, don't call for the diet pills.
Yeah.
Hi.
Viewer secret weapons and tactics. You know, this is giving a different dimension to being swatted.
Go fuck off, Adam.
Am I wrong? Do I lie?
I didn't say you were wrong, but also go fuck off.
I'm sending you your GamePro t-shirt personally.
Also, that VHS quality, my guy.
Remember to send in your tapes and tips.
I mean, that was the state of the art of fucking recording.
That's what you were getting in 91.
Yeah.
The address, okay? Get quick. GamePro.
I don't think that P.O. Box is active anymore, friends.
90291, yeah.
No. You send mail there at your own risk. Some 30-plus years later.
See you next week. This was a weekly thing?
Yes.
Huh.
Did you think it was daily?
Some of these were.
That's true.
This was weekly.
Did somebody die in the pipe?
No.
Let's not ask that.
It's probably a prop leg.
Yeah.
But I like the implication that there's a body in there, bro. Holy shit.
I'm like...
Guys? What the fuck?
And...
Hold on.
Wipe out?
Questions?
I'm not sure there are satisfactory answers.
Pressure was really getting to me. My doctor told me.
And we have an ad for neck pain, apparently.
For a heart attack.
Nordic Track.
This is the
No, it's for the fucking Nordic track.
And my doctor
God,
Oh,
remember
God.
when that was a thing? Holy fuck.
I had a
In
terrible
fact,
time
Nordic
losing
Cross
weight.
country skiing is fun, so
just
try to get all of the benefits by doing a dumb machine in your house.
Nordic
that you'll use for about 2 weeks.
With Nordic Track, I was able to increase my
Yeah,
metabolism and burn calories
I think the
faster.
company still
I lost
exists, but they're
weight,
definitely
and
not
I
making
still
that
eat regular
machine
meals.
anymore.
I really wanted to enjoy this time of my life. I didn't have the energy.
Nordic Track.
Drink more caffeine.
Now I feel great. Better than I have in years.
Also, your metabolism changes.
Yeah, it's called getting old, my guy.
This is why they say youth is wasted on the young, because all that energy going to waste. Or my nephews and niece. So much energy. I'm pretty sure I could power some electronic equipment with all of the kinetic energy in their bodies.
But yeah, this is definitely one of those. This is for when mom and dad walk back in the room after making the after school snack.
Creates a smooth, non-jarring motion. No other ski
Because
machine
you can kind of tell by the earlier ads are a lot more, kid, and then we have stuff for, weight loss supplements.
Even after 5 years.
Yeah, like, this isn't just for adults. This is for middle-aged, this is being aimed directly at the parent.
Yeah, these are definitely mom and dad are done in the kitchen making the after-school snack or whatever, or mom's taking a break from making dinner.
I mean, not so much, like, Nordic Track, 20-year-olds are probably buying that somewhat. Anyway, and I think that's where the thing ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was our sojourn through GamePro TV, and what a journey it was.
Indeed.
I'm like, yeah, we'll definitely be doing this again. Like, not necessarily GamePro TV, because there are many, many other old things to run through.
Specifically in our wheelhouse.
Yes. Like,
again, I got it in one at the top.
Yeah. But, a good chunk of them are British. Like, and a good chunk are worse, because we have yet to cover Video Power.
Was that
Especially
a local one? I don't remember that offhand.
No, that was another syndicated. That's a thing for another day. Like,
oh boy.
Just waiting if we the second season with the poor man's version of Captain N Game Master. Think about that sentence in despair.
I hate that is a legal sentence you can make.
Anyway, Petty, play us to the next segment.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm not in position.
Yeah. You gotta
casual stretching for time.
Sometimes you have to do that.
All right, I found the button.
All right, press it. All right. Welcome to the topic of the week, the discussion of the week, however you want to frame it. So, this week we have to talk about Warner Brothers Discovery. Because we don't talk about
safe. We are not safe.
No, we are not. But in retrospect, we totally should have expected Warner Brothers Discovery to be doing dumb shit, their brand of dumb shit in the video game space. Because this is just an extension of what we have to talk about in regards to Warner Brothers Discovery on MSP. Like, because it's literally the same shit in the video game space. It's the same disregard for art and artists, just with the video games now. I'm like, right, so I suppose catching people up to speed in case they are out of the loop, which, in fairness...
Can I join you under that rock?
I'm like, right, so this has been hitting the news feed since, last week. I'm like, and the thing is, we don't know the extent of the damage. In actuality, it's speculated that all Adult Swim games are going to be delisted in the next 60 days. But as far as actual confirmation,
We may
that's
not
only
know till D-Day.
no. We've got 3 developers who have confirmed that their games are getting pulled off of the download stores. Steam, but other eShop, what have you. Reasons have not been given as to why exactly.
I mean, we probably have a good idea on the reason. Spoilers, it involves royalties.
Yeah, royal. So, we also don't know if it's going to necessarily extend to like just the stuff that they've published in regards to indie developers, or if it's going to include like the Samurai Jack game here, like which is a fully owned, Adult Swim, Warner Brothers Discovery property. Like there really shouldn't be a reason why this game, in particular, vanishes.
Yeah. Though this is the only Adult Swim game I really had on hand. So
yeah, I'm like, yeah. And once again, we do have confirmation from the developer of Small Radios, Big Televisions.
Yes.
Which is actually a game we reviewed way back in the Talk Shoe era. Like, we actually had a bit of a relationship with Adult Swim games back then. But Adult Swim games actually hasn't existed since, the release of Samurai Jack here.
Yeah, this was their last game.
Yeah. Now, that was not the fault of Warner Brothers Discovery because they didn't exist then. AT&T management stripped a lot of stuff from Adult Swim. Like, AT&T, by the way, they're the original sin. They're the ones who loaded up Warner Brothers with the debt load that they do have now. They're the reason why Zaslav and his cronies are taking the axe to anything and everything. Like,
because this isn't because the company was like natively doing poorly. It's just because sometime in the last decade or so, some finance person came up with the idea of buying a company and then making that company pay for the amount that you bought it for, basically.
It's what we call a leveraged buyout.
Which is bullshit and
it is very
almost
bullshit. It should be
inevitably kills
illegal.
the company.
Yep. And, Discovery Communications, they were the suckers who were dumb enough to take it off AT&T's hands. Anyway, as far as games that we have actual confirmation from the developers, so far it's been Fist Puncher, Soundonger Plus, and the aforementioned Small Radios, Big Televisions. So, but to be on the safe side, it probably would be best to go and buy a game that's marked as being published by Adult Swim Games. In the next couple of months, probably during a Steam sale, like in order to make sure some of those titles are in your library. Now, as far as what's going to happen after that, well, it depends. We also we do have news that I forget which game it is, but I do know that the devs of one of the titles to be delisted has been told that they can re-upload it to Steam, but here's the caveat: it has to be a new entry in the database.
And all Adult Swim games, credits must be removed.
Yes. Now, you might be asking why that would be a problem. I'm like, well, here's the thing. That means all the Steam reviews, all the visibility at that that entry
discussions,
has
guides, all that good stuff that's in the community tab.
That gets nuked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
it's really hard to get a hold of people who've wishlisted it if you can't use that avenue anymore.
Yeah, and the developer of Small Radios, Big Televisions has released the PC version to download for free on his personal website. But once again, this is no different than them taking the chainsaw to fucking Batgirl or Coyote versus Acme or all the stuff that got taken off of Max. And people have been offering up the same defense. The royalties couldn't be that much. That's not the point.
It's the point that they cost anything.
Right. I'm like, the fact that it's any liability at all is enough for the current administration to say 9 and Deep 6 the whole shebang.
Yeah.
It's like, and I guess from their perspective, I kind of get it. More so than say a major motion picture title like Coyote versus Acme.
Yes and no. Apparently, some devs have tried to just see if they'll just do Steam. They would have an option they can fully transfer everything back to the dev for free. Just fill out a form, and their WB rep has refused them.
That's not exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about why they would move to why they would move to delist these games, because they're not major tentpole titles. They're not even attached to the main Warner Brothers games. They're they're attached to the sister label, sub label Adult Swim games, which has been defunct for years. So why are we wasting any sort of resources here?
I mean, but yeah, at the same time, they can just give them the original Steam stuff back for nothing.
You're looking like that would require them to be, magnanimous.
These are for the ones who still own the IP.
I'm like, look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this isn't how an executive thinks.
Fair.
I'm approaching it in the way somebody from C-suite would approach it. Especially from a new regime.
Right.
I can see the logic here. I'm not saying it's fucking cruel and awful and shouldn't be happening. I'm just saying I see, what the thinking process is here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm and I will mention another thing. The small things do add up. Like, I don't know how much in royalties collectively this group of games is costing, but it's probably more than people are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking individual. Like, if the entire, we're just assuming that the entire Adult Swim games catalog is getting 86 into the void.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably some chunk of change that's going to be saved. Not much, but not nothing either.
Yeah. It's probably a few $100,000 is my guess.
Probably a few million. Like,
it really depends how
again,
much business they're all doing now.
Once again, to Warner Brothers, like they're in a mode right now where not even the rounding errors are too little money.
Yeah, like they're literally. I don't know if you guys heard anything about the Rooster Teeth stuff going on, but apparently just the day-to-day operations of Rooster Teeth was costing WB about as much as making a new pilot.
That's not surprising. Like,
and it is
it's
hilarious.
called
One of them made
overhead.
the joke if whether or not the pilot would make it to actual air or not. So,
It's like it's all overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like the Adult Swim games had less overhead because they're presumably the only staff was just a couple of people, some sort of skeleton crew that was maintaining the Steam entries and all that stuff. Like, the Adult Swim games is certainly not maintaining like a publishing division anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a few years ago.
Yeah, like there's clearly people at WB who is still engaged with these devs / publishing people in some capacity.
Yeah. I'm like, so at the very least, there is communication going on here. It's just the answers are vague at best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably because the people that they are speaking to aren't authorized to give actual answers.
Yeah. Or or don't really know what's going on yet.
Yeah.
Because it's very possible, like, the mediaries that they're dealing with are probably just middle management.
Well, that also speaks to the defunctness of Adult Swim games in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually, if you had the infrastructure in place, PR people would be speaking about this to the developers, to the press.
Yeah.
They would be, talking points would be circulated, and a message and narrative would be being forged.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing here but a wall of silence.
Yeah.
So,
in a perfect world, everyone who, they still have the rights to their games, they get their Steam pages transferred over to them, and, no harm, no foul. But this is also fucking WB we're talking about.
Now, from what I understand, it shouldn't be that hard to get the rights back.
Most of them have their rights. They kept them after the dissolution of Adult Swim games, from what I heard. It's just transferring the Steam stuff back to them.
Yep.
And while that is a simple internet form, sometimes suits don't know how any of that works, sadly.
Yeah, because I've seen Steam pages transfer from one publisher to another.
We've had that happen to a few friends of the show.
Yeah, it can be done. But sometimes, it's not a matter of, they can't, they just won't.
Yeah. Or they're not really understanding what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
because it's very possible one of these suits are thinking they're losing something in this, but they're not.
Yep.
In fact, honestly, we as a community are losing more them just delisting it than just giving the Steam page back to the devs. Specifically, if the devs still have the rights to the IP. I know not every one of them. Some of them, I think WB still has the IP rights to. In which case, that's on the devs to either buy back or make a deal with WB to either keep it alive or what, you know?
Or once again, they are Adult Swim properties.
Yes.
You know, not just Samurai Jack here, but probably the most overall successful game was Pocket Morty's.
Mm-hmm.
Which is based off of Rick and Morty.
Right. Is it even still being updated?
I don't know. I don't but it hasn't been delisted yet.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's a mobile game.
Last I heard, it got recent Android update support, so it's compatible with the new OS. But I don't know about last time they got content updates.
No. I'd have to look.
Mm-hmm.
So, at any rate, as usual, it comes down to penny pinching and Warner Brothers Discovery Management sucking huge amounts of ass.
Yeah, these are definitely people who don't really understand the digital era of IP rights. How they can just fill out a form and just give these back to the devs. It's not like a whole getting the lawyers involved, signing legal documents and shit. Unless it's somebody who's buying back their rights, If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Anyway, I think we're about done with this.
Right.
There really isn't much more to say.
Yeah. Other than hopefully there is a decent conclusion for the devs affected. As in they get their Steam pages returned to them, and they don't have to try and start from square one.
I'm not holding out hope on that.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but then again, there's stupider stuff has happened.
Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. So coming up on the week ahead, once again, we do have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents happening in the next, let's say, half an hour.
Ideally not too long, because I do need to go to bed again to get up for the plumber.
Look, once again, a lot of this is incumbent on Mac.
Very much so, yes.
That's why I got the 15-minute hard limit now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not waiting 10,000 hours for his ass.
Right.
Anyway, no Friday show this week, as previously mentioned. And coming up on the Sunday reviews, we'll be having reviews of Death of a Wish, Hopslinger, Rebounder, and Lamasoft, the Jeff Mincher story. So look for all that, and until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.